Hello, everybody. This is Jackson, and today I will be discussing the book of Daniel. Uh, the author of the book is Daniel himself. The dating for Daniel is between 535 to 525 BC, nothing later than 525 BC. And so, a little bit of background for the book. The book is split up into two parts. You have Israel in exile, and then they come back, and then for chapters 1 through 6. And then 7 through 12 deal with visions of Daniel. And this would show God would show Daniel different visions about the end times and different things like that. The eschatological part of Daniel. Chapters 1 through 6 deal with the 70 years of exile. It deals with when Daniel gets captured as a teenager. It goes through the famous Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego phase where they disobeyed Nebuchadnezzar, and then you would have he would interpret his dreams so he wouldn't die, and then you would have Persia come in and take over, and Cyrus or Darius, one of those two, they were helping out. Israel come back, and Daniel still remained faithful to God. And the overall theme of Daniel is that God is faithful to his people. He established a covenant relationship with Israel way back in Abrahamic covenant, where he would bless him with a mighty nation, promised land. And so what was going on was Israel had been sinning. They were disobeying God, and they basically left him. He didn't leave Israel. He left them. They left him. They were doing their own thing, and then God expressed his judgment through Nebuchadnezzar and Babylon in 605 BC, and that's when they would be in exile. Around 538, 539, they're allowed to come back and rebuild. But he never stopped caring for his people. And with Daniel's life, you see him overcome death multiple times. He never strays away from God. During the statue, during the dreams, he trusted God. Even in the lion's den, he trusted God. And God always provided. And he was showing not only Daniel, but the earthly pagan kings that he is the one true God. 3 times he did it with Nebuchadnezzar, and then with Darius in the lion's den. In the canon, Daniel is placed in the prophetic books. And the reason for that is the last half of the book deals with visions. What are these visions that Daniel deals with? Well, Daniel deals with multiple visions in the book. He deals with the vision of the 4 beasts, a vision of the kingdoms, the vision of 70 weeks, and then he does encouragement. So the last half of the chapter of the book deals with visions. And why does God give him these visions? Well, it's to show the end of. In some parts of Daniel, we see parallels between this and Revelation. There is apocryphal literature in both these books. We see it in the second half of Daniel. And it's included in here because we see how God showed Daniel, this is what's going to happen. And Daniel wrote what he needed to write. Daniel was a very faithful servant of God. He never gave up on God like the Israelites did. He prayed for a long amount of time for repentance. We see Daniel's faith throughout the whole book, and even through times of trial, God revealed himself, and that's the whole point of Daniel, is that God will reveal himself to his people. He never forgets about them. He loves them, and he does whatever he can to bring them back to him. And then once the Israelites realized, oh snap, we actually messed up, they come back to God. They come back to their senses. Thank you all for listening to this video.